A very important thing that determines a lot about the game is what is the meta, effectively meaning the most effective tactic available. Usually refers to the equipment and in-game strategy, you could call it. Usually it's just tactics because strategy is commonly misused as a word. It usually takes some time to figure out what aspects are important and what aren't. So the meta in Delta Force is rather simple. There are only two cases. You are either fighting infantry or you're fighting infantry and vehicles. If you look at the conquest maps, 5 of them are vehicle based, 2 of them are infantry only. So logically, if you want to have just a single setup, use this in front of you. I'll show you mostly what this entails. Out of the 3 engineers, this one is the best one because it has the loitering munition or UCAV or TV missile or however you want to call it, so you can shoot vehicles over buildings or hills with effectively a guided missile that does about as much as the 84 launcher. Area denial, fire damage, grenades. His own deployable cover, allowing him to hold angles that all other classes are simply unable to hold, and is resistant to some effects, which are usually not very important. He also gets access to one of the best weapons in the game. This is like the third or second fastest killing gun that is fully automatic. Insane. Also has massive range. Sure, the SMGs can maybe win it barely against you, but they have way less range, and the assault rifles are just completely outmatched. When we look at something like the CL-19, 660 RPM, 4 hit kill, while this thing is 550, 3 hit kill, an insane advantage, and it has more range, even with the short barrel. So, if you want to know why the setup looks like this, go to my weapon setup video. Glock 18. Why would you use anything else? Usually, when you switch to your sidearm, you did a bunch of damage already to the enemy, and you just need to finish them off. And this just fires the quickest and allows you to do that the easiest. You can use something like the Eagle if you want to be fancy, or the revolver, some crazy build like this, but it's usually just Glock. But you also rarely use your sidearm. Rocket launcher 84. This is technically the Carl Gustav, not the 84, by the way. It just looks like that in this game. I'm not sure what they were going for. The Stinger can be sometimes funny against vehicles that fly, but those are only 2 vehicles out of like the 8 or 10 you can see on the enemy team. And the 84 launcher doubles down like a one-hit kill sniper rifle with terrible muzzle velocity. But when you are fighting in the close quarters maps, you can just shoot people directly and in one-hit kills them. Javelin, absolutely useless. This takes forever to lock on, forever for the missile to hit the guy. And you might say, okay, it's guided, it will hit the enemy because it flies at an arc. Sure, but your enemy might just die before it even reaches that. I have compared this. Funny enough, you can look how the fastest throws in the world were like 40 something meters per second. This missile in this game is as slow as the fastest throws of physical like balls or whatever people were throwing. That's how uselessly terrible this is. And it doesn't do some crazy damage either, so just use this. And you also get plenty of ammo with this, and it has very low drop. Even though it has low muzzle velocity, it doesn't drop down when it's flying much. So for the other 2 cases, you just use this woman. She can heal just as fast as the other medic guy. She just doesn't give you full HP when she heals you, but that's usually much less of a concern. You also don't need this guy's healing pistol thing, because you have medkits, which are faster to deploy and heal you just as fast, and you get it for both. She gets a better version of smoke. She gets this nonsense which you can annoy people with. Not the most important thing, but she also gets this boost, buff, whatever you want to call it, that allows her to ADS much faster and receive less flinch, which is insane. Like, this allows you to win so many 1v1 fights. And she also helps teammates around you passively, which is amazing, since the maps where you run as infantry, like especially shafted, you will have a lot of teammates around you, very close to you. So having a passive boost is huge. For winning fights, just use the Vector. It kills people way quicker than everything else, pretty much in the game, except maybe the MP5, but that one is way too inaccurate. You can also get away with the longer range setups. You don't need to go for full handling, because you can use her buff to get less ADS time, so it's slightly less of a difference between these two than you might think when you are using her. If you want to farm people more, you can use this. This is easier to use, it has less recoil, and it's also suppressed, so people will less likely notice you, and you get 30 rounds. Keep in mind this doesn't have much of a negative effect, but you only need 4 shots to kill instead of 5, so you actually have a effectively much larger magazine with this. So, that's basically the entire infantry meta of this game. Maybe a little bit about how to use them, but I think that should be rather obvious. Just don't camp. It's simple. Keep running around. You actually want to use the tactical sprint. I can't do it right now. You run around, you spot the enemy, you shoot, kill them. That's all you do. You want to have high FOV, so you can see people around corners much easier. And if you really want to, you can just change the calibration to get more zoom on guns, but usually I don't find it to be necessary. Because, sure, people will tell you can shoot people at 100 meters. Yeah, of course I can do this. But what's the freaking point of this when it takes so long and the enemy will have to be exposed for way too long, and most of the competent people will just not stand in the open getting shot by you in the face. They'll just notice, oh, you are shooting me and you are winning, I'll just hide behind this cover. So most of your kills are actually going to be much shorter range than you would assume. As usual, don't use this laser aim, it literally takes longer than to do this. So yeah, basically never use it. Hipfire is also unnecessary, especially with the more speed-based builds or handling-based builds, especially like this one, which has almost the same walking speed when ADS as when non-ADS. So you might as well just play with this when you stop running. There's just no reason to be walking around like this. Yeah, and that's basically the meta of this game. Fire your TV missiles over hills, fire your anti-launcher directly, throw flaming stuff at enemies, throw solid stuff in front of you to cover yourself, and when you are playing as her, throw the bad stuff at enemies, buff yourself, throw the blinding gas at them, and of course heal yourself and heal your allies. Of course, with her you can also revive. Keep in mind, revives are a little less effective in this game than, for example, in Battlefield, because they don't reduce the amount of deaths in the ticket counter. So, please like, share, subscribe. If you don't, I don't really care. Makes it easier for me. And have a nice day.